Anoint my heart. Remove the fears and anxieties of my life and the lives who have suffered loss. Let the people of Pulse know today that we remember them, we honor them, and we respect them and cherish them. Amen. We gather this morning to remember the events of the Pulse nightclub. We do not gather to mourn, but we should gather to remember the zest and the zeal for the life these people had as they gathered that night in the club. They were celebrating Latin night on that particular occasion. If any of you have ever been to a true Latin celebration or gathering, there is nothing there to be mourned. The community that had come together that night was there to celebrate and embrace life to the fullest. The evening of that event, after it happened, many of us from Spirit of Peace participated in the gathering that night at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. And the leadership of our church decided this remembrance would not be just a one-time event in the life of our church. And that's when we added the fourth candle on our altar, the traditional altar setup. The candle that is marked with the sign of the dove, the Spirit of Peace. This would be our constant reminder of the events and a reminder to always have in the front of our minds the prayer for peace. Also this month, we remember that this is the 40th anniversary of the Upstairs Inferno in New Orleans, Louisiana. A massive fire that claimed the lives of 39 people as they came together to celebrate and embrace life to the fullest. This fire took many members of the Metropolitan Community Church in New Orleans, including the pastor and the pastor's spouse. Just this month, DNA was finally able to be used to identify one of the victims of that massive deadly fire. Again, we should not bring mourning to the remembrance of this event. Let us bring with us our excitement for life, the love of the dance, the music, and all the things that help us to connect one with each other. How do we find joy in life in all of this, you may ask? It's a shame if you think about the events of the Upstairs Inferno, the events of Pulse nightclub, so many years apart, and yet still there were families who refused to claim those who were dead because they were embarrassed and humiliated because of who they were, who they loved, how they celebrated life. God doesn't care how you celebrate life. God just wants you to celebrate life, to live life. I want to venture into the gospel reading this morning and share with you perhaps a different perspective of this lesson. The gospel lesson from Luke chapter 7 is also shared in Matthew chapter 8, where the centurion sends his people out to meet Jesus and ask him to come to his servant, for he's at the point of death. The sick slave was described as precious or intimate to the centurion. This would have been commonly used phrase to describe one of a loving and sexual relationship. In Matthew, the same words also are used along with pays, which is boy, which is always used to describe a young slave kept for sexual purposes, or the younger partner in a pederastic relationship. If the centurion's slave was really his young sexual object, Jesus certainly took no notice, but instead praised the centurion's faith and healed the boy as described in Luke chapter 7, verses 9 through 10. Jesus allowed and performed this healing for the strong faith and love of the centurion. And Jesus has that same love and compassion for us today if we are willing to show our faith and our love for all of creation. The healing that we receive from the remembrance of the beautiful lives that have been taken from us way too early by horrific acts is due to our love for life. It is by us remembering the excitement of the life on the Latin night at the Pulse nightclub that we find our own strength to move forward, accepting the grace of a mighty and loving God. No bullet, no fire, no humiliation or alienation can separate us from our God. For God does not look at us in judgment, but looks at us with awe and wonder of what God created. So let us, with love in our hearts, remember always the names and lives of those who have gone before us, for they are our saints in heaven, and they sit in waiting, wanting to welcome us to be with them. And they urge us, just as they may have been scared that night in Pulse nightclub, or scared to death of that upstairs inferno, they remind us to live life to the fullest. Get out and celebrate the Latin night. Dance the flamenco. Act crazy. Get sweaty on the dance floor. Everybody remember the early 80s when you were out on the dance floor and the music was so loud, your body vibrated, and you were just excited to be there. And you didn't care what was outside. You knew that life was full where you were. God wants you to have that same feeling each and every day that you live. Don't live it as if you have to be afraid. Live it with zeal, with gusto, and vibrance. And know that one day the saints will welcome you to celebrate Latin night with them once again.